everyone and welcome to my channel. For everybody that's new here, my name is Andrei, I'm a tech enthusiast and I do tech videos for the fun of it. Now today, like the channel theme, we're going to look at a new iPhone. No, we're not. We're going to look at a Google Pixel phone. This time the Google Pixel 4a 5G. That's one big name. Now, the Pixel 4a 5G is a bit of an interesting phone, I think. It's actually a mid-range phone among Google's lineup from last year, which was made up entirely of mid-range phones, depending on who you ask. Like I've done in a number of the past videos that I filmed here on the channel, this entire intro section is actually being filmed on the phone right now with the front-facing camera and using the phone's default microphone. So you guys get to decide if the quality is good or bad. Now, with that out of the way, let's cue the intro and let's get started. So, the Pixel 4a 5G. What is it? Well, it's actually the mid-range offering in Google's Pixel lineup of last year. It's a little bit more expensive than a 4a, but about $200 cheaper than the Pixel 5, and in my honest opinion, is pretty much the pick of the bunch. But as usual, when manufacturers have to design a mid-range smartphone, they have to cut corners here and there, they have to cut features so that they reach the price point whilst still offering the features that they're most interested in. And we'll see what this phone is all about in the next few minutes. So as usual, we're going to break down the phone in its major components and categories and we'll see what's what. Now first up, the design. This is one of the areas where Google had to make some choices and they chose to go with cheap materials. This is basically plastic. No pretense for luxury or premium materials here, and I don't really fault them for that. They chose to put their money elsewhere and it shows. The phone feels actually pretty decent in the hand, it's just that it's a generic, bland piece of black plastic, and that's about it. If you're hoping for a flashy phone, this isn't it. This is a cost-saving measure. Black plastic, probably cheaper to manufacture than anything else. Again, the phone doesn't really feel bad in the hand, actually feels pretty okay, and pretty solid if I have to say so. Now let's move on to a better category, the display. The display is a 6.2-inch AMOLED display with full HD resolution, 413 pixels per inch. It has 638 nits max brightness if you leave auto brightness on, but sadly it lacks the 90 Hz refresh rate of the Pixel 5 and just has to make do with the 60 Hz refresh rate. I don't particularly fault them too much for that. The screen is pretty good for what it is. Again, the phone is a little bit more expensive than a traditional entry-level phone or a mid-range phone at $500, but the screen is actually pretty good in my opinion and won't really let you down. Moving on, let's talk about performance, and the performance is actually pretty decent, as we can see here in CPU-Z. It's powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G, which has 5G connection and is also the same chip that powers the Pixel 5. However, what it isn't is not a Snapdragon 8 series processor. So this is a little bit slower than last year's 8 series and of course slower than this year's Snapdragon 888, which is obviously an improvement of last year's model. Now in terms of hardware and specifications, you only have one model. 6GB of RAM, 128GB of storage, non-expandable, which is pretty important to note. It's a decent performing phone, all things considered. You're probably going to be able to game on it pretty decently. I did only a few games here and there sporadically. I'm not that much into gaming. It doesn't have a lot of lag. You can scroll through the menus relatively painlessly, so that's still okay. But the decision of going with a 7 series SoC may impact this device in the future. We don't know exactly how well it will handle future versions of Android. But as of right now, still in 2021, the phone performs rather well and is actually not a disappointment in that area at all. Moving on to the battery life. The battery is going to be pretty decent at 3855 milliamps, which is okay in terms of capacity. In my experience, I've not been hampered by a small battery size. It's actually pretty decent, but you have to consider this isn't my daily driver phone. I don't use this as much as I use my iPhone, for instance. So obviously your results may vary. It also comes with a charger in the box. I know this is a feature that we need to talk about in 2021. Pretty decent in terms of battery life and pretty decent in terms of charging. It has 18-watt charging, so it can charge to about 45 to 50% in about half an hour or so, which is not bad at all. Now we come to one of the device's strongest points, and it's not even its strongest selling point, but one of them: software. You see, this runs Android 11 out of the box, stock Android like Google intended, and it's going to get support until November 2023, which is a rarity in the Android world. This means even if you pick up the device now, you're probably going to get 3 more versions of Android. This year's Android 12, the Android 13 from 2022, and hopefully Android 14 in 2023 as well. So basically you're looking at 3 more years of software support, which is absolutely fantastic. This is actually one of the main reasons I purchased this phone. I wanted the phone to have Android support for as long as possible. And in the Android phone, the Pixel lineup will always get updates very, very soon. Basically, these are Google's official phones, and they are the first in line to get the new Android versions, plus security updates every month. So that's a big plus. And now we're gonna arrive to the main selling point of this phone, the camera system. This is basically the exact same camera system you have on the Pixel 5, a 12 megapixel main sensor coupled with a 16 megapixel ultra-wide sensor. These take enormously good photos and videos. I'm actually sharing some videos and photos in the background. The camera on this thing is absolutely amazing. It's pretty much on par with the best phones out there, at least to my eye, okay? I'm not a big photography or videography expert or enthusiast, but I can appreciate a phone that can take good photos and videos. In terms of taking videos and photos with my phones, I'm the average user. I just like to take my phone out, snap some quick pictures of either family, friends, interesting moments, or random interesting stuff that I see. And this phone excels at that. This is an incredible point and shoot camera. It does have some extra features as well, but at the end of the day, the quality is absolutely amazing. And the front-facing camera is not bad either. It actually takes decent video, at least in my opinion. If you watched the intro section of the video, you'll have seen the camera in action. It takes good selfies. Overall, I think I've seen this in Tom's Hardware written somewhere. This is the best camera in the cheapest phone possible. Basically, this is a great camera phone. Google has excelled at this for the last few years, and this phone is basically no different. And in conjunction with that camera, we have another selling feature for this phone, basically Google Photos. As you may know or may not know, Google Photos has now stopped offering limitless storage and is now offering paid storage just like Apple. This phone has an advantage. It has unlimited storage for Google Photos for the storage saver tier, which means basically slightly compressed photos, not original photos like the ones you have in the phone. They are going to be compressed. Previously they were called high quality backups, so not quite as high quality as the original photo, but close enough. This device and existing Pixel phones up to the 5 and included will still get to have unlimited Google Photos storage for the life of the device. Please double check this upon purchase, make sure that it's valid, but as far as I've read online from various media outlets, even if you buy it today, this phone will still have unlimited Google Photos storage. And now some miscellaneous items. The haptics feedback, not so good. The fingerprint sensor, very good. As we can see, it's nearly instantaneous and can actually be used to drop down the settings menu, which can be pretty useful as this is a bit of a chunky phone to hold in the hand. Again, I love the good fingerprint sensor on this one. It's actually remarkably easy to use, and it also has an always-on display, which is another welcome addition. Another great welcome addition is a headphone jack, but unfortunately the phone loses out other features to compensate. So for instance, the screen is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass Free as a cost-saving measure, so that's the cheaper version, and it also doesn't come with any IP rating whatsoever. So finally, what are my conclusions on this phone? I absolutely like it and love it. At $500, it's a bit pricier than many offerings, but if you want a great camera phone that has stock Android, this is a fantastically good buy. And again, as it's nearing the time when it's going to be discontinued, probably you may even be able to get some deals on it, or conversely be able to buy it used. When I purchased this, I compared it to its stablemate, the Pixel 5, and this won out. I wouldn't necessarily buy a Pixel 5 over this one. It has a better screen, it has an IP rating, but that's about it. The internals, the hardware, the cameras, they are the same. So basically, this is the best camera phone at this kind of budget. I don't think there's a better camera phone for $500 anywhere right now, even 6 months after this phone's introduction. So if you're big on videos and photos and want to have unlimited Google Photo storage as well, and also want to enjoy stock Android, this is the way to go. As usual, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a thumbs up and also subscribing to the channel. I'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.